In 2020, I finished my master's, and since then, I have been self-employed. I built an entire virtual private practice as a dietitian and grew 2 social media accounts to over 100,000 followers. I'm obviously very proud of all of my accomplishments, and as I started sharing a little bit more about my life on TikTok, I started getting a lot of questions about how I stay productive and focused as an entrepreneur with ADHD. It is definitely no easy feat to be able to focus and stay motivated enough to build a business, especially when you're home 24/7 with 4 pets. They can be very distracting. And let's be honest, I did roll out of bed today at like 11 a.m., so I am not perfect, but I definitely want to share some of my best tips for accountability and motivation as an ADHDer who is self-employed. When it comes to being motivated to get things done as an ADHDer, it's not just about a decision to get something done or making a to-do list. It's about creating a system that is built for your brain. As an ADHDer, we have a unique brain with unique needs. So we can't try to create all of the same systems and routines as neurotypical people and expect the same results. So how do you find that motivation as an ADHDer? It really comes down to accountability. Accountability creates the motivation to start and gives you the focus to finish, which if you look at all of the projects I've started and not finished, you'd know how important this is. So what accountability does that helps an ADHDer is it gives you something to incentivize the task. The incentive either gives you a high enough benefit of what you're getting done to give you that dopamine kick to where you are just intrinsically motivated to get it done because it's fun or exciting or you get something as a reward, or the incentive is that there's a high enough cost to where you're not willing to give up that cost for procrastinating the task at hand. And that cost can be literal money or even just a figurative cost. Like if you have an accountability buddy, the cost of missing that appointment is that you may disappoint your friend. So I wrote down on my iPad some of the ways in which I create accountability for myself since it doesn't actually exist in my business as a self-employed human. So let's dive in. When it comes to incentivizing things with a reward, obviously this is the more enjoyable way to create productivity as an ADHDer. The first and foremost way that I do this is I literally create something to reward myself with when I finish a task. For example, I had a package that I needed to mail back to Amazon for a return and I kept putting it off. And then I got an email saying I literally had like 2 days to return it, otherwise I had to keep it. So I told myself, if I leave the house to go mail back this Amazon package, then I get to get Starbucks. Starbucks is on the way home from Staples where I mail out these packages, and so it was a perfect setup for me to go mail the package, grab Starbucks on the way home, and enjoy my nice little drink treat. As an ADHDer though, you know that we easily bypass the rules we create for ourselves and do the easiest and most fun thing to do. I could have easily just gone to get Starbucks and been like, whatever, screw the package. But in that situation, that was a high enough incentive for me to go, and plus Staples was literally right there. In order for us to not bypass our own rules, this is where an accountability buddy can come in hand. This can add a bit of a cost of, I don't want to let this person down when they're holding me accountable, but also there's the benefit of possibly enjoying a benefit with them. So for example, I sometimes tell my partner, hey, if I get up before 7 a.m. this morning, then tonight when you get home, let's enjoy a drink out on the patio together. If I don't do that, we do not enjoy a drink out. Now, if it were just me, I would do it anyway, but he very much lays that boundary down for me of, no, we don't get to enjoy that simple pleasure of a nice drink together on the patio because you did not wake up early. You can also do this in a literal sense where you like send a friend money on Venmo and then you tell them, hey, when I send you a photo of this assignment I need to get done, Venmo me $10 and then I get to spend it on whatever I want. I've never actually done that one before, but I have heard of people doing that. And then when they like accumulate a certain amount of money, then they get to spend it on something that they've been saving up for. So it's kind of like creating like a savings for something you enjoy. And so you want to get the task done so you can build up that savings. But yeah, basically the structure for this source of accountability is going, when I fill in the blank with the task you want to do, I get to fill in the other blank. If you hear this noise, I promise I'm not tooting. My knee is rubbing against my desk. Anyway, that one works for me some of the time, like when I need to go do something outside of the house. If there's something I want to do while I'm out and about that's exciting enough for me, that tends to be my incentive. The next one is setting timers. This one doesn't have a tangible reward on the other side, but there's something about my brain that when I set the timer and I get to see how much I get to get done in that amount of time, the reward is the timer goes off and then I get to do whatever I want. I don't really know if you'd consider that a reward incentive, but it just lets my brain know, hey, for this duration of time, for the next hour, I'm gonna be working on this task that I do not want to do. And when the timer goes off, my reward is I'm done with that and I get to go do something else. The reward is really I'm just doing it for that allotted amount of time and I don't have to do anything more than that. It also helps to like kind of shorten the duration that you think in your mind the task is going to take. So by setting a designated amount of time that you're gonna work on something specific, it's a lot easier to, I don't know, like put it into practice because you're only doing it for that amount of time. Am I making any sense? Another one that you've likely heard about is habit tracking. I mean, the act of tracking a habit and actually visibly checking it off, whether that's in an app or on sticky notes on your wall or in your bullet journal, that is very rewarding for our brain. We like to see ourselves checking things off. This one doesn't actually do too well with me because if I put something in a habit tracker and then I shut it, out of sight, out of mind, it does not exist. If I put a habit tracker in my office and then one day I don't go into my office, I totally forget that I'm tracking that habit. So it has to be something literally right in front of my face, otherwise I won't follow it. My current favorite habit tracking app is the app Finch. I wanna make a whole video on Finch. There's so many uses for it, but right now it is really helping me build certain habits that I've been putting off for a very long time. It's not only the fun part of like checking off the list, and not only does it incentivize me because there's a literal cost of the pro version costs money, but also you get rewards through the app for finishing off your tasks. I don't really know how to explain it very well yet because I've only been using it for a week, but there's like currency in the app that you can spend on like outfits for this pet that you have and are growing, and you can like design their room with the currency, and when you finish your to-do list or complete certain habits, then you get currency for that to spend. It's really, really cool. So that's a very rewarding way of habit tracking for me right now. But I do know for some people, like even some of my nutrition clients, just having it in their planner, something on their fridge, anything to check off is really rewarding and gives enough of an incentive to get something done so that you can make that check mark. And the last reward-based incentive that I wanted to talk about was literally what I'm doing right now, which is recording yourself. This is the entire reason I created my Moments with Marissa TikTok that is doing pretty well. It's because I put off cleaning, decluttering, doing certain tasks for so long that I was like, look, I'm just gonna start recording myself. And so now when I need to clean something like my car, I make a video out of it. And the reward is that I get to make this creative video on the other side of it. And for me, that's a big enough incentive because I get the reward of posting it, getting feedback on it, getting likes and views, which we all know is like a huge dopamine boost for those of us on social media. And there is a little bit of a cost to recording yourself because I feel like if I don't post it consistently, I'm possibly missing out on helping the algorithm push my videos out more and possibly maybe becoming the influencer I've always wanted to be. So it's equally rewarding and has a bit of a cost to it. I feel accountable by those of you who are watching. Also, when I'm recording myself doing a task, I can't get distracted by TikTok because my phone is being used to record. Speaking of somebody watching you, let's move into the reward section of accountability and incentives. No, the cost section, not the reward. We were just talking about rewards. Let's move into the cost section of incentives and accountability. Okay, right, that one. Body doubling. Let me just insert this TikTok I made about body doubling to explain it for you. If you don't know what body doubling is, it's essentially like co-working. You get on FaceTime or Zoom with a colleague or a friend. You both separately do your tasks on mute, but it's like a silent accountability buddy. When I do it with my friends and colleagues, we all announce at the top of the hour what we're going to be working on. And then after an hour goes by, we check in to see how that's going. Sometimes an hour is all we need to kind of get the ball rolling on our task. Sometimes we'll stay on for hours. So yeah, body doubling is like having a virtual coworker. Not only is your phone being occupied or your computer being occupied by being over FaceTime or Zoom with somebody, but you both are holding each other accountable to the task at hand. I feel really motivated to do whatever task I tell my coworker, my body doubler, that I'm going to do, because I feel like if I don't, I am a liar. So I think the cost is a little bit moral in that sense. I feel a little bit guilty if I don't do what I say I'm going to do. So for me, it really does hold me accountable. But if you are the type of person who's like, well, I would just sit on TikTok while I'm on Zoom on my computer with a coworker and like it wouldn't bother me, to heighten the cost of body doubling, you can actually subscribe to certain programs for body doubling. The one that I'm most familiar with is called FocusMate. You do get, I think, 3 free sessions every single week. With that, you literally schedule a co-working session with anyone, virtually from all over the world. It's just, you set a time and then somebody else joins you for it. And yeah, it's a complete stranger. I've done it before, and at first it's kind of weird, but eventually you're like, it's not that weird. So there's the cost of I'm possibly leaving this stranger stranded who booked a body doubling session with me, but also if you do more than the 3 sessions a week, then you are charged. When there is a financial accountability component, oh my gosh, I will do anything. I don't want to waste money. I don't want to be charged for that session that I missed. So having a financial component is like, to me, a higher cost than anything, and I will get stuff done. I used to use it to help me get up early. Actually, I have a hard time getting out of bed early because I have like barely any standing appointments in a day that start before 11. So because of that, I'm like kind of rolling out of bed around like 10, 10:30, and then getting ready for my first client. But I want to be able to get stuff done in the morning. So for a while, I was booking almost daily body doubling sessions at like 9 a.m. So I knew I kind of had an appointment at 9 a.m. even though I was setting it for myself. Going off of body doubling and accountability buddies, we kind of touched on this, but sending pictures to someone when you complete a task can be a source of accountability. I've done this with my little sister before. She wanted to create this habit of making her bed. So I told her every day, send me a photo of you making your bed. And she did. She remembered to do it because she was remembering to send me a picture. And if she forgot, I would text her about it. And she'd be like, oh shoot, I didn't do it today. I'll do it tomorrow or when she got home from work. Simultaneously, I was forming the habit of waking up early without using FocusMate. And so I would send her a photo of me sitting on the couch watching a morning show when she was supposed to be sending me the photo of her making her bed. This really only works if the task that you need to get done is like a small repetitive thing like that, because you don't need as big of an incentive to like make your bed, I guess. But with a friend can just like help create like a social element to it, and that is both rewarding and has a cost of possibly disappointing the person that you are doubling up with. Okay, so now let's talk about actually paying for someone to hold you accountable outside of like a small fee on FocusMate. You can hire an accountability coach. I've never hired a coach that is exclusively for accountability, but I've hired many coaches throughout my entrepreneurship. I've hired business coaches. I've hired ADHD coaches. I've also hired fitness coaches. Right now, I'm using the app Copilot, which assigns you a personal trainer virtually that helps you create programs and helps you hold yourself accountable to a fitness program. Hiring somebody is a great accountability tool because it has a high cost to it. You don't want to waste your money. Okay, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. I am not perfect, but I will say my top things that I do for accountability that I talked about, number 1 is body doubling. Body doubling, and the Finch app is currently like my favorite habit tracker. And then of course Copilot. So like a little bit of everything that I said. Inside of Finch also there are timers, so sometimes I'll use those timers in the app and then I get rewarded for using the timer. All in all, if you're struggling with productivity or motivation as an ADHDer, look for ways you can incentivize these tasks. Look for a way that you can reward yourself, or look for a way that you can create a cost that makes doing the task worth it. I know to an extent you have to have a level of motivation to set up some of these systems, but I'm telling you, like, just start with one thing. I'm gonna do one body doubling session to set up the ways in which I wanna hold myself accountable, 1 hour on FocusMate or 1 hour with a friend, and it starts to get the ball rolling for you. And if you're an ADHDer, stop trying to just willpower it up. Stop trying to just get the grit and the self-control to get things done. You're not gonna do it because our brains don't work that way. So start working with your brain instead of working so hard against your brain. Every day it's like, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, no, tomorrow's gonna be different. Tomorrow's gonna be different. No, tomorrow's not gonna be different. You gotta set up systems so that tomorrow can be different. That's where it starts for us. And once you accept that, oh my gosh, your whole life changes. All right, I wanna make a lot more videos about ADHD as an entrepreneur, how I get things done. So if you have any ideas or any questions about how I manage my life as an ADHDer, feel free to leave a comment down below. Also, make sure you go follow my new TikTok where I talk a lot more about this ADHD stuff. And yeah, stick around for more videos coming very, very soon. Bye.